You won't believe what I saw. There's a mist with a bunch of crows, like they were performing some kind of creepy ceremony. I walked over, only to find my husband tied to a tree. Take me with you, take me with you. Hurry up. Take me with you, take me with you. At that moment, a screeching sound echoed, and I spotted a monster nearby. It kept flashing, giving me a headache. But thinking of my happy life with my husband, I decided to brave it out. I managed to stab the monster, and with a bright flash, the audience in the theater just vanished. Please, you need to get out of here and go home. Don't carry your disappointments, share them with those lucky folks out there. Disseminate your disappointments widely to the world. Cast them towards them, they are indeed the genuine stars. So what about that bendy character? I pulled out my chainsaw, ready for some serious dissection, slicing off those pesky membranes. No need for seasoning, the refreshing tasty brain matter is ready. The wealthy folks took a bite with excitement. This brain must be from a genius professor. But I need to save some room, there's more gourmet coming up. It must be a spicy piano with fingers, and even stinky tofu-flavored soccer players' feet are on the menu. Then a mysterious woman approached me. My heart raced like crazy. She mentioned my sister, who disappeared after a company interview years ago, and no clues from the police at all. Her words sparked a glimmer of hope. Just as I was crying, I felt something behind the picture frame and USB drive. It's got to be clues about my sister, but I didn't realize I was uncovering a terrible secret. The USB held job listings for brain drain. These sought uniquely skilled candidates with ridiculously high salaries. Despite the danger, I submitted my resume for my sister without hesitation. I quickly got an interview notice thanks to my sharp vision, but the process felt more like paying a ransom. First, go somewhere to get a message, then change locations. More complicated than arrest, I fainted. Finally arrived at my destination, I hurriedly gave the police my location and entered the elevator, only to find a surprising number of candidates. Some of them are athletes you usually see on TV. Can you guess their professions just by looking at them? But as everyone exchanged greetings, the elevator suddenly shook and began to plummet. We frantically pressed the emergency button, only to find mysterious gas seeping out of the ventilation system. Everyone hurriedly held their noses, starting a breath-holding challenge. The singer and the athlete passed out first. Next were the chef and the piano girl, followed closely by the swimmer and the professor. I shared a glance with the last man, and our eyes spoke volumes of despair. When we woke, we found ourselves the wealthiest food. I struggled, but was shoved to the chef. I bit the waiter's arm to get their attention and sprinted towards the door. But the sedative still had me in its grips, and I was dragged back to the table. The wealthy were debating where to start eating and even hoped I'd cry for a more flavorful dining experience. Their shameless words made me scream, tears streaming down my face, just the right moment to be tasted. Just then, a loud bang came from the door, and a swarm of black-clad agents burst in, launching a massacre against the wealthy. An older gentleman was attacked by the chef's flying knife, but another mate merely wiped his neck and miraculously healed. Turns out this was a world of superpowers. The wealthy were stealing the skills of regular folks through food, and I was one of them. I was meant to awaken with a special technique. It was in this moment that my soul crossed over. Suddenly, I awoke from my sleep to find that terrifying scene recurring, a domestic abuser choking me tightly in a man's dream. It was all over. Oh dear. Every time, just being grabbed around the neck was a recurring nightmare. Oh dear, I finally escaped the basement of horrors. But upon waking up, my daughter kept trying to comfort me and wanted to run over, yet I was simply too exhausted to stand up anymore. My friends said I had been dreaming for half an hour, no matter how hard they tried, while Lenny stared at her computer and shook her novel had come boasting with savior intentions. She wanted to rescue that woman, but the guy with glasses thought it was too risky. You were just grabbed. What if next time it gets lethal? Doesn't she deserve help? But the woman didn't care. She returned home yet again. Her daughter beside, she suddenly found her ring missing and frantically searched. If her husband knew, she'd be in big trouble. Just then, her husband came home, noticed something was off, grabbed her hand, saw the missing ring, and exploded with rage. In a state of extreme panic, Lanya hastily grasped a jar of rice and fiercely stabbed it into the man's palm as he tightly gripped her hands, with her anger reaching an unparalleled peak. Ultimately, she awoke from her nightmare, realizing she was covered in wounds and bruises. But there was no time to lose. Lanya hurried back to the computer, and the next morning, they went to the hospital for a checkup. Though they didn't check her arms and legs, the guy in glasses advised her against continuing that story. But Lanya wasn't ready to just sit back and watch. She had to figure out who that woman in her dreams was. She at least had to see her face. This time she wanted Glasses Guy to keep an eye on her writing process, just to see with her own eyes. At night, Lenny prepared to write again, with glasses guy monitoring her side. Before long, Lenny started twitching all over, seemingly entering the dream realm again, frantically searching for a mirror in the basement. At last, she found it, her eyes widening instantly as she saw that woman's face, and then awoke from her dream to realize indeed, it was her sister who had been lost for so long. So they quickly drove back to their hometown to ask their parents about her sister's whereabouts. But their parents claimed that her sister had been kidnapped years ago, and there had been no news since. Feeling helpless, Lenny decided to take the risk again, trying to pinpoint her sister's location in dreams only for her daughter to fall ill in the next one. So Lenny wanted to take her daughter to the hospital, but her husband locked her in the room, kept her from getting out. She pounded on the door desperately, but got no reply. Just as she was about to give up and return, the door suddenly swung open. Her husband came down, and Lenny anxiously explained her daughter was sick and needed to go to the hospital, but all she got were his fists. He threatened Lenny to let go, and suddenly, in a moment of mental blurriness, Lenny's soul unexpectedly crossed into the man's body. Unfortunately, before she had the chance to react in any way, her soul swiftly returned to the woman's body again, causing that rude fellow to suddenly realize that his wife had been possessed by Lania. He grabbed his wife, demanding to know who she was, only to collapse in agony a second later. Lania instantly dashed towards the woman by the bedside, whereas the first brute hastily escaped, in a state of dazed confusion, yet serendipitously managed to seize a clue. It was a badge. Then he woke up from the dream and used the fingerprint on the badge to track the man down.